this is a good one because, you know, Paris is so technical, and Josh got great technique, but he's a bit more of a dog. I guess we'll find out in a second what kind of pacing we're going to look at in this fight.
Here we go. Blue gloves for Paris, red for Josh.
Paris did fight it at 135 as an amateur. He's a big flyweight. Seeing him in the cage, Paris has the size advantage. Has never stopped Joshua Van in the past. I remember calling Van's last amateur fight just recently for the belt, for the Fury amateur belt.
Yep. Yeah, it just seems like yesterday, and then, you know, for a while, he was on almost every card we called.
Yeah.
This is his 11th time inside the Fury FC cage as a pro and amateur combined. Has that 3-fight win streak in 2022.
Nice high kick from Van, but he was a little close. Paris eats it and catches it and scores a takedown. Paris sits in the open guard of Van as Van gets busy with some elbows. That's the only bad thing about Paris's cool hairdo is if he gets cut, everyone's going to know it.
Oh, yeah.
A triangle setup here from Van.
Oh, man.
Paris crowds it with the hips and elbows. That was a really crafty way to neutralize that threat.
Yeah, and we said it earlier, we thought maybe Josh Van might have had the advantage on the ground, and Paris maybe the advantage standing up.
Yeah, which is crazy because, you know, Van's, you know, kind of a striker, and Paris comes from a jiu-jitsu spot. Good body shot there from Josh Van. Another good catch from Paris.
Yeah, that was kind of my question. I wonder how much offense Paris Moran would take for us saying that Joshua Van is the better grappler, because, you know, not afraid to go to the ground with him. You know, very effective on the ground so far.
Well, Paris's grappling is very by the books and very technically clean. You know, one thing about Paris's coach in his corner, Alex Cisne, he's a Sen Shao fighter. And it's like, it's striking with takedowns. They do a lot of caught kick takedowns, and it's looking like that was a big part of Paris's game plan, or even I should say arsenal in this fight so far.
Yeah, and in fact, Paris himself, a 7-time national champion in Sanshao, a Pan American champion. You know, he's very, very decorated in Sanshao before he even started MMA. So, you know, started doing jiu-jitsu very, very young, as we saw on the opening. And so, you know, very, very skilled. A very skilled fighter all the way around. And, you know, when we say one has an edge over the other, it's very, very slight, if any.
Yeah. Sen Shao, one of the traditional martial arts that actually is good for MMA. Good timing on that knee, yeah.
And so far, Paris showing to be, you know, more than Josh Van can handle in just about every position they've been in so far. He's winning the striking and the grappling.
Yeah, you know, Van hit a good, you know, one and then across to the body, but that's been about it. So there's another good 1-2 to the body. But I mean, other than that, Paris is really the one kind of in control.
We have seen this out of Joshua Van before. We've seen him take a little bit of punishment. We've seen him come back from behind and win some fights.
Paris has gone the distance a few times, though. He's comfortable with a 3-rounder. Funny exchanges.
Josh is the total opposite, has never left a second round in pro fights, and only twice as an AMI it went the distance. So he is all about the finishes early.
So one of those fights was a championship fight for Fury's amateur title, and it went all 5 rounds. So he did get 15 minutes in the cage.
He's been so good to start his professional career. Nice connect there for Josh.
Paris reached a little bit on that jab, and Josh came right over the top with that lead hook.
1 minute left in round 1 of our co-main event.
But this crowd is going crazy here. Each one having about an equal amount of fans, it sounds like.
Yeah, they both do their job selling tickets.
Yep.
Houston, Texas showing out. Katy, Texas showing out. Suburb of Houston.
They got to get that strap fixed. I mean, that was a well-thrown high kick. There was power on it for sure. But Paris catches it and scores. Honestly, those caught kick takedowns, I think, have been the most notable action in the fight.
Yeah, and as long as the fight stays technical like this, I think Paris has the edge here. But the dirtier this fight gets, and kind of the more this turns into a brawl, it kind of changes on the feet to advantage Joshua Van, I think.
Yeah, in the last 30 seconds or so, Van has pressed forward a lot more.
Man, that was a quick first round that flew by.
We're all kind of holding our breath. That fight delivered too. It was technical, but it was also like pretty brutal. They were both throwing big shots, big high kicks.
Yeah, nice. The shin landed right on the cheekbone of Paris Moran, but he kind of walked right through it. Grabbed it after it landed. Took Josh Van to the ground. Nice elbows there. Maybe close to 12-6 elbows, but no call there. So obviously not. But
so you know what? Oddly enough, if the elbow's going upwards, it's not a 12-6. So it's actually impossible to throw one from guard unless the person's like head is under your armpit and you're posted up. I've asked a bunch of refs that question because I like to elbow off my back myself.
Yeah.
Josh not sitting down, by the way, no stool in there, standing up to recover for round 2.
He's 20 years old. He got energy for days.
Yeah.
Is that Artinas Young there in the corner as well for Josh?
Yeah, Chico.
Yeah, is that Chico?
It's a Houston OG if I've ever seen one.
Man.
Much love to my boy Chico.
I believe he just got just had a Muay Thai fight, right?
One with a TKO by low kicks. Nice to see his hand get raised. He did a lot for the MMA scene back in the day.
Man, this crowd is going crazy. You see the pro Josh crowd making all that noise, countered by the pro Katie Paris Moran crowd. Nice kick to start round 2 for Paris Moran.
And there's not very many instances where we sit here cage side and we kind of can't hear ourselves talk through our headsets, but there for a second there it got pretty loud where we couldn't hear ourselves. It's pretty crazy inside here.
Ooh, nice combo there from
that
Josh.
rocked him. Paris is rocked. Paris is rocked.
Oh, Josh Van!
And he's all over him.
Is this going to be enough to finish the fight? Josh Van is alone. Josh Van with the win.
Stop! Paris Moran!
The fearless called out Paris Moran and gets the win. Woo!
Holy cow! Paris Moran took the shot, was not able to get the distance to be able to recover, and Josh Van swarmed all over him.
Man, it was a left hook just over the top, and it staggered Paris, and Paris actually called him on, but it was rocked, and then Van was just patient but unloaded.
Oh my, Josh Van,
Paris
fearless.
Paris did everything he could to try to recover too. He stayed on his feet, and props to Joe Solis. He gave Paris a lot of chances to recover. That was a good stoppage. I think Paris knows that too. Props to both guys. I mean, that was a tough fight to take for both of these guys. There was a lot of value in winning and then a big risk in losing. But thankfully, huge win for Van. Puts him at 6-1. Paris is now 7-2, which is still a great record. We'll look at the highlights here. And look at the left hand of Josh Van. Bang right there. Just left hand over the top. Paris tries to find his footing. The high kick clips him. And then just 3-4. It's a good ground and pound there.
You're right, man. Props to Professor Joe Solis. Really gave Paris every opportunity, but just saw enough. And look at Josh just unloading. What a finish. Joshua Van continues to showcase why he's one of the hottest prospects in the flyweight division.
In like less than 2 years, he's 7-1 now. 6-1, I should say. And getting co-main event TKOs and Fury on Fight Pass. I mean, the ceiling is so high for this young martial artist. The future is bright. Congratulations to Josh Van.
Let's go inside to Wayne Leggett to make this official.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Joe Solis calls for a stop to the action. 36 seconds into round number 2, declaring your winner by TKO, the fearless Josh Van.